Hi, I'm Tim from Tim Talk, and we're going to MC the parade today.
We'll look forward to it. Tim has a lot of friends in the parade from the Cub Scouts, and he'll be giving them a shout out along with all our selectmen and veterans today. So we wish you good luck.
Yes.
Stay dry.
Yes.
Is that thing getting closer? Look how high that thing's going. Look out there, look at the debris.
Give me the camera.
No, just drive, I've got it.
Zoom in, zoom in.
I can't believe this is happening.
Oh, the size of that thing.
It's everywhere.
Are you getting this?
Yeah, I've got it. What was that?
It's the National Guard.
How'd they get here so fast?
I don't know.
Pull over, pull over.
Do you have what it takes to head into the heart of the storm? Check out NationalGuard.com.
And we're rolling, and we're at the Veterans Parade today with Tony Guerreri, TJ Blinn, and Tim Churchill. We'll be announcing for EBC TV. Tim, you got a little fun fact for us right off the bat from the Cub Scouts.
Yep. So on the Cub Scout float, Pack 23, the three pillars on their float represent the three Bridgewaters, and the uniforms represent the parts that veterans play in our community.
Great, great. And I have a few people like to have a shout out to the Marine Sean Pierce. We got to thank him for his service, along with Air Force Jake Buck, Army Jake Harrington, Army David Voss, Marines Matty Palmquist, Navy Haley McKean, and Dickie Eldridge in the Air Force. And our own Russ Hannigan was in the service, and we thank all the servicemen today. I'm going to turn it over to TJ Blinn.
I also want to wish good luck to Nicky Carey as he starts his journey in the U.S. Army. He just graduated boot camp recently, I think it was 2 weeks ago. So good luck to him, and back to Tony.
It looks like we're going to start off with the fire engines and police off the bat, Tim.
Okay, nice.
And we won't be able to talk for a little bit as they pass us.
Yes.
And they're going to end up at the high school, and all the festivities going to be indoors today due to the rain. But we do have a crowd out here with the umbrellas.
Yes, we do.
And do you have anything else you want to add to our earlier facts?
I have a few fun facts about Veterans Day. Did you know that Veterans Day was officially first named Armistice Day? And Armistice Day was actually first celebrated on, I believe, November 11th, 1919. And, yep. And did you know that 1/3 of all living veterans served in the Vietnam War?
Nice job. And we also say, you're talking to your parents earlier, you helped out with the float for the Cub Scouts, and you're going to see a lot of your friends coming by on the float.
Yes, I will.
We're going to give them a special shout out, and we can even wave to them as they go by.
I'm a member of Pack 23.
Great. So now we have the East Bridgewater Police coming by us. And we have, and it's going to get loud, but we're going to go over, looks like East Bridgewater Cruiser on the motorcycle, West Bridgewater Fire Department, and we're followed up by Bridgewater and East Bridgewater Fire Department. And we give these marches a lot of credit, and the veterans are tough anyway. They were used to serving in these weather conditions, so we give them a special shout out today. Russ Hannigan on film crew, and Ann Kerrigan's inside doing everything, filming for all the speeches from the selectmen afterwards inside the high school. You've got a new producer over there in Tad. Have you met Tad over there in West Bridgewater?
Yes, I have. We've filmed now, we filmed episode 7 now.
Episode of Tim Talk?
Yep, Tim Talk. And
Awesome.
we now have the very first game review that I've reviewed yet.
They're going to be sharing that with EBC TV so we can put it on, and people can see on channel 6, 9, or 98. Awesome.
Episode 7 should be done relatively soon, and yep, we also have some content from Zorba's Pizza that will also be in episode 7.
Good pizza.
Yep.
Here comes our first police officer.
All right.
It's Uncle Dick Eldridge from the Air Force. We give him a special salute. And Bridgewater Police. West Bridgewater Fire Department. We give a big salute. Everybody loves a parade, Tim.
Yep.
Last year we had nice weather in Bridgewater. We were spoiled last year, Tim.
Yes, we were.
We had the outdoors. We were in t-shirts and shorts last year.
Yeah.
We won't see any antique cars, I don't think, today due to the poor weather.
No.
And some of the dance studios did back out. Tim Herron, East Bridgewater Deputy Chief.
Unfortunately, the parade will have a lot less people than usual, but
And East Bridgewater Police, they always put the fire department and police first in case of any emergencies. We have a little bit of a delay in between our next group, and they're off to serve because the police and fire don't have any days off either. So we're back, Tim, and what do you think so far of that parade? That was awful loud, but we always get them out of the way first.
yeah. I think it's been going well so far, aside from the rain.
And it looks like we're going to be waiting on some, I know the East Bridgewater band, and I believe the West Bridgewater band will be playing today. Looks like we could have the veterans coming up with their, Russ is getting a shot for us here with the flags. And yesterday was the Marines' 240th anniversary for the Marines.
Nice.
A couple more weeks, EBC TV will be hosting the Christmas parade coming up. And it does look like we have the veterans coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Charles is the in command today, along with Paul Connell.
Mm-hmm.
Grand Marshal is Bob Charles.
Yep, the veterans will be here very soon.
It was a short walk from Spring Street up to the high school, and unfortunately there's going to be a lot of fillers today due to the poor weather. But still have a good-sized crowd on hand. Tim went through some work today to get these some of these facts. He did his homework, and
It's no longer a piece of paper. Now it's just soggy. Yeah,
it's a soggy piece of paper.
just wet fiber. Okay, I give up. Yeah.
Oh.
Open it up. I'm trying. 2 hands. Open it up. Do your best.
Yes, sir. A couple people, motorcycles. God bless them. Kept one out. And a nice cheer for the veterans. Yeah. It's the Marines coming by us. Grand Marshal Charles Francis. Joe Dutcher driving his Jaguar. We got a shout out to Joe Dutcher and Bob Charles.
And I have a few other fun facts to
There you
share.
go, Tim. I'm putting you in charge now. Take over.
Okay, so the difference between Veterans Day and Memorial Day is that Memorial Day only serves veterans who have died in action, whereas Veterans Day serves any veteran who has ever served. And that is the difference between Veterans Day and Memorial Day. And let me see.
Are you familiar with the Selectmen from West Bridgewater? Do you know Jerry Lawrence and all that?
I do.
We're going to be coming up on the East Bridgewater Board of Selectmen first. And it looks like Dave Sheedy, Martin Crowley, and Bill Diehl, all three of our selectmen are marching in today's parade. And those sign holders deserve a little credit for holding those signs. Thankless job being a selectman, because you're getting phone calls and all the people. No one's ever happy. Waving to all our selectmen. Thank you, town selectmen.
Thank you.
Could you take a picture of us? Sorry to make you do it.
Putting TJ Blinn to work and getting this picture taken.
Thank you. Sorry, guys. Michelle DeBois.
Is that Michelle Dubois, Tim?
Yep.
And you, yep. West Bridgewater. A couple of enthusiastic young men cheering on.
Yep.
And they deserve it for walking in this
Yes.
weather. So that was Michelle Dubois with the East Bridgewater Selectmen.
Yep, it was.
I've never had a chance to meet her. You could have got her over here for me.
Yes. Hi.
Tim, who's this people you know coming up here?
Yep. It's hi.
This is Jerry Lawrence.
Yep, that's Jerry Lawrence.
Say hi to Jerry Lawrence and Tim Talk. He give a shout out to Tim Talk.
Hi.
And we got West
Yep.
Bridgewater coming up here.
Yep. Some of the scouts.
Are these some of your friends, Tim?
I believe these are some of the Boy Scouts, but I think the Cub Scouts will be coming up soon.
All right, this is the older. Well, here comes Pack 23. I see him right here, Tim.
Yes.
Oh, they're giving a shout out.
Hi. Hi.
Tim, you're gonna get more excited here, buddy. You gotta give him a high five.
Hi.
Whoa! Go Pack 23.
Hi. Hi, Jack.
There you go. You know all those kids. You helped out with the float also, right? And you
I did.
remember. Here's West Bridgewater Forestry Department. Yeah, we're getting a lot of waves, but the windows are up. They don't want to get wet.
Yes.
Looks like VFW post from Bridgewater coming up.
Nice.
And they give a nice wave. And they're staying warm in the
Hi.
American Legion
Nice.
from Bridgewater. And the Veterans Council also from Bridgewater as they roll by. I do hear some bands coming up, Tim.
Oh, nice.
We got some marching bands. I believe West Bridgewater and East Bridgewater will be in the marching bands, and a nice way. And all our notes have gotten soaking wet, so
Yeah.
we're just gonna wing it from the rest here on
Yeah.
in.
I think I ran out of fun facts. 'cause
That's okay. We'll have to make
paper
some
got
up.
ruined.
I guess I was kind of spoiled last year with that Bridgewater. It was very nice. They had the.
It was. It really was.
But looks like the Trojan marching band, BR. Being a tri-town parade, you get Bridgewater, East Bridgewater, West Bridgewater's finest from everybody.
Yeah. Yep, so it looks like one of the marching bands coming up.
You want to step in and say anything?
Takes courage to walk out there in the rain.
A lot of courage for these youngsters and adults, but and we're sitting out here too, and this is what doing TV is all about. Sometimes you don't get the perfect weather.
Yeah, takes dedication, but
Russ Hannigan on our camera, doing best he can do. And they did dress for the occasion, though, it looks like.
they did.
Nice job by the BR marching band. And it looks like we got Bridgewater's Lady Auxiliary VFW post coming up.
Good. I'm glad that even though it's raining a lot, we still had a lot of people to still have the parade.
It is making fun. Everybody loves a parade.
Yep.
In the rain or whatever, it doesn't matter.
I'm glad it wasn't completely canceled though.
We all know the Cub Scouts are tough.
Oh, yep. The Cub Scouts from Pack 35 from Bridgewater are coming.
Is there a name for the little guys who just walked by us besides the Cub Scouts?
Yep, the Bears and the Wolves.
Oh, the Bears and the Wolves. Good.
And I think I see a few Boy Scouts and
Tigers.
Cub Scout Pack 88 from Bridgewater is coming.
Nice. Braving the weather. Good for them. These kids are tough. American Legion.
Oh yeah, with my Cub Scout troop, we did I say troop? I meant Cub Scout pack. We went camping in very, very low degree weather in a tent, and it was very cold.
Geoff Diehl just walked by.
20-degree weather. Not as fun. In the morning, you've never been so grateful for something as a warm English muffin.
Oh, warm English muffin. Now you're making me hungry, Geoff. I mean, Tim, because I am hungry. We just saw Geoff Diehl walk by.
Nice.
Troop 29 from East Bridgewater. It's nice that people make the best of it no matter what, and that's a lot of fun. They'll look back years from now saying, remember that day it poured out and we were out in the rain.
Yes.
got to give a shout out to all the girls that couldn't make it in the dance studios because Paula Coffee dance studio couldn't make it today, but we still give them a shout out at home. It's like the Girl Scout and Brownies coming by.
So hopefully next Veterans Day we won't have this much rain.
And next year, I believe it'll be in West Bridgewater. As they alternate the Tri-Town. Last year we had Bridgewater. This year East Bridgewater. Next year West Bridgewater.
Yep.
And West Bridgewater has a new studio over there. Have you been over to check out the facilities?
Yes, I have. We've filmed a few times over in that studio. We filmed the game review that I was speaking of earlier, and the few clips from season 7. Not season
great.
7, I meant episode 7.
Yep.
Yep.
It's the Tucket Lodge from East Bridgewater. And we have our first clown.
Nice. It definitely takes dedication to
That's
go out here in the
dedication.
rain.
Joy the clown.
Means you really care about Veterans Day for going out in the rain, even when it's pouring, to walk out there anyway.
Magic Touch Nursery Preschool Center walking by. And they have a nice float throwing us candy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I think the wheels just crushed on them.
We're getting dum-dums thrown and Tootsie Rolls thrown at us.
Nice.
I was hoping it was hot chocolate or coffee, Tim, but we didn't get any of that, no. Here comes the East Bridgewater Viking Marching Band.
We got the East Bridgewater Marching Band. Color Guard Captain is Dana Rapp. Closest to the camera, walking by on our side now. East Bridgewater Marching Band Drum Major is Delaney Patterson. Director of Music Ray Pawnee, and Director of Music Class is Mr. Hatchfield. Tim, that was a job well done by the East Bridgewater Marching Band.
Yep.
I'm going to turn the mic back over to Tony.
We got treated to a nice song there by the VA. It was a marching, that's East Bridgewater Marching Band, and then we have the VA Boston Healthcare System driving by in the bus. And Tim, you might know some of these youngsters, West Bridgewater Music Marching Band. You know anybody in there, Tim?
I don't.
No, you don't recognize anybody?
No, I don't believe so.
Give them all the credit in the world for showing up today in the rain and the wind and the cold. Shout out to those West Bridgewater youngsters also. And that might be towards the end of the parade as we salute the veterans today on a day where they all deserve all the credit, the veterans.
Yes,
And I'd like
they
to see
do.
Johnny Macaronis is supporting free lunch for all veterans. If you have an ID, you get a free lunch. So Johnny Max gets a special shout out.
Nice.
And it's going to conclude, conclude our parade today. I'm Tony Guerrieri. I have Tim Churchill with me along with TJ Blinn. We are brought to the Veterans Parade. And we're going to wrap it up here. We're going to shout out to all the veterans today. Happy Veterans Day. Thank
Happy
you from
Veterans
East
Day.
Bridgewater Community Television. Tim, say goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you,
Happy
ladies.
Veterans
See
Day.
you guys later.
Get up to a 100% scholarship to college. And up to $60,000 in assistance. Get paid to learn valuable job skills. Maybe make an extra 20 grand when you join. All while you serve your community and your country. Learn more at NationalGuard.com.
Hi, everyone. Hope you're all dry there. How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? In memory of the 11th hour of the 11th day in the 11th month of year 2015, I ask you all to join me in a moment of silence in honor of the war dead as we begin our, as has been the tradition since the first anniversary of Armistice Day 97 years ago today. Thank you. And good morning. I'm Paul Cannell. As the event chairman of East Bridgewater Patriotic Committee, a member of the Tri-Town Veterans Council, and vice commander of American Legion Post 91, it is my pleasure to welcome all of you to the 99th commemoration of the end of World War I and the eve of the 70th anniversary of the end of World War II, now jointly observed as Veterans Day. This year, we are also commemorating the 65th anniversary of the ending of the Korean War and the 44th anniversary of the ending of the Vietnam War. The battles continue in Iraq, in Afghanistan, and now in Syria, and have not come to an end yet. And so we go on our military duty. To start our commemoration on a proper footing, I'd like to call on Reverend Jim Connolly, pastor of Union Congregational Church, to give the invocation. Reverend Jim.
Good morning. I'm going to do something a little different for the invocation this morning. I'm going to ask all veterans if you are able to please stand. Okay. Now, I take a back seat to no one in my hero worship of the likes of Tom Brady. But I'll tell you this. If he were here, and he's not, today's a work day for him, he would tell you, he'd be the first to tell you that he's no hero standing next to these people. These are our veterans. When they signed up for service, they did not know what they were getting into. They did not know if they would be at a desk. They didn't know if they would be digging a ditch. They didn't know if they would have bullets flying at them. And they signed up. Why? Out of love and loyalty and fidelity to this great country. We are going to give them a thank you. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to sing God Bless America to our veterans. Veterans, if you'd like to sing along, feel free. But this is a thank you from us to you for your noble service. Let's sing. God bless America, land that I know. Stand beside her and guide her through the light with the light for Thank you, veterans, for keeping us free and safe.
Thank you, Reverend Jim. Thank you very much. Now, I am pleased, now will you all please rise and join me in a Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Now I'd like to introduce a member of the East Bridgewater Board of Selectmen who will extend the official welcome from our town, East Bridgewater, the host community for this year's Tri-Town Commemoration, Selectman Martin Crowley.
Thank you, Paul. Good morning, everyone. Fellow officials, clergy, honored veterans, neighbors and friends, on behalf of the residents of East Bridgewater and the Board of Selectmen, welcome to our town for the annual Tri-Town celebration of Veterans Day. And celebrate we should. Celebrate that we have been blessed to have people living among us who so value the freedom and opportunities we enjoy that they have been willing to accept a greater responsibility, make a greater commitment, shoulder a greater burden, and make greater sacrifices to ensure that those freedoms continue to endure for us all. Those people are our veterans. That is why at this moment, in this town and in towns across the country, it is appropriate to take a collective pause and focus our attention on those sacrifices and accomplishments, and thank our veterans for their patriotism and service and willing to sacrifice for the common good. And so we don't forget what they have done and what they continue to do. Last spring, I had the opportunity to attend several high school graduations, and I noticed that with all the opportunities that lay before them now, how many of our young people had chosen to serve our country, and the respect and esteem in which their decision was held by their peers. I was reminded of the phrase, the unbroken chain of patriots spanning generations who have always answered the call. Thank God they still do, and God bless them all. Thank you.
Thank you, Selectman Crowley. And now for the guest responses from the next year's host town, West Bridgewater, Select Chairman Nancy Maloney.
Good morning. Thank you to the town of East Bridgewater for hosting the parade today, and thank you, all of you, for joining us on this beautiful day. But we celebrate the veterans today. So our veterans, they make up a strong fabric of our nation. They heed an urgent call of duty, protecting us from the enemy and ensuring our freedoms. Such actions deserve a great deal of respect, reverence, and at the very least, a thank you. I thank the veterans for their courage and patriotism, and I thank their families for supporting those remarkable men and women who chose to serve for the common good. Certainly, they are remarkable in every sense of the word. As many of us know, the job of soldiers is not an easy one. It demands rigorous training, a steadfast sense of duty, and firm resolve. Our vets embody great character and accomplish extraordinary things. They carry the burden and responsibility of protecting and defending all of us. And they all have sacrificed something so that we could enjoy the freedoms we have today. I hope you'll allow me to add a personal note today. Later today, I plan to go to the military cemetery at Otis Air Force Base in Bourne, Mass. In 1977, shortly after graduating high school, my cousin Timothy Creighton joined the Marines. He married after his second tour of duty, gained the rank of sergeant very quickly, And in 1982, he came home for the christening of his 6-month-old daughter. We hosted a party for him before he deployed back overseas. I clearly remember that day talking to him alone, and he said to me that he wasn't planning to re-enlist again. He had a family now that he needed to take care of, and a daughter that he wanted to raise. A few months later, on September 14, 1982, he died in a helicopter crash during maneuvers in the North Sea. It's families like these, families that have suffered so that we all can be free. On behalf of the town of West Bridgewater, we would like to thank all our veterans for their unwavering courage, perseverance, and heroism. Thank you.
Thank you, Selectman Maloney. And next, from last year's host town, Bridgewater Town Council President, Dr. Kevin Perry.
Good morning, everyone. Distinguished guests, officials from both East and West Bridgewater, Tri-Town Parade Service Committee, and our active servicemen and women that are here today, and all of our veterans. On behalf of the Town Council and the citizens of Bridgewater, thank you all for attending this year's Veterans Day Parade and festivities despite the inclement weather that we have here today. And a special, obviously, thank you to all the veterans in attendance that are here today. How do we say thank you? How do we show our appreciation for the service and the sacrifices our veterans have made to defend our country, to protect our freedoms that many of us take for granted? How do we say thank you for those who pay the ultimate price and sacrifice their lives so we can live ours in peace? How can we as Americans show our gratitude to our veterans? I think it's simple. Call one, visit one, talk to one, listen to one, help one, say a prayer for one, place some flowers or an American flag on the grave of one, shake the hand of one, hug one. Whatever it might be, take the time to acknowledge and appreciate our veterans. Simply thank one for their service. Personally, I've never been in the service. I've worn a Boy Scout uniform in the past, but I've never worn a military uniform. I've been in a few battles on a wrestling mat, but I've never been to war. I've broken my leg in sports, but I've never been wounded in battle. I've gone away to college for a semester, but I've never been sent halfway around the world to fight for and defend my country for months or years at a time, away from my family. I've never been shot at or had to shoot at someone. I have no idea what war is like, but many of our veterans do and have. I know nothing of what you know and what you've been through, but I stand here today as a grateful citizen of Bridgewater, of Massachusetts, and of the United States of America, and say thank you for your service from the bottom of my heart, and all the veterans for your service, for your sacrifice and your dedication to making this country the greatest country in the world. In closing, I want to recognize and remember the sacrifice of our Bridgewater veterans killed in action that are listed on the War Memorial on the Bridgewater Common. From World War I, Warren A. Randall, Martin Dolan, Lewis C. Brown, Charles P. Willey Jr., Thomas C. McCauley, Joseph P. Connor, Antonio Farini, John A. Andrews, Frederick W. Cochran, James A. Oliver Jr., William H. Mackinac, Aubrey P. Sewell, Francis L. Gorey, Charles H. Kopp. From World War II, Robert Pratty, Joseph Chestnut, Anthony F. Souza, Quentin L. Dunn, Joseph E. Lynch Jr., John M. Pierpont, Robert A. Pierpont, Alfred P. Bertelli, Paul R. Stubbs, Raymond J. Mason, Albert A. Enos, Robert A. Silva, Thomas P. Buckley, John A. McNeilan, Mark A. Chaka, Mario A. Chaka, Kenneth J. Harding, Manuel G. Ribeiro, Howard A. Goff, Michael J. Curley Jr. From Vietnam, Lawrence F. Beals, Glenn A. Manowski, Lawrence K. Dowd, Robert E. Morris Jr., Walter J. Katzok Jr., Bruce E. Johnston III, Theodore Johnston. From the Korean War, Roger M. Tansey, and most recently from Operation Enduring Freedom, Kevin Preach. So I'd just like to take a quick moment and have a moment of silence for those people. Thank you. God bless our veterans and God bless America. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Perry. At this time, we usually listen to a few appropriate words from our senators and representatives of our state. And the first representative is State Senator Mike Brady.
Thank you, and thank you to East Bridgewater High School for hosting this noble event. And as we come through the weather today, dealing with it, we think of our veterans and all the storms that they had to weather that were much more difficult than the little bit of rain we're facing today with a little bit of wind. So we can't thank our veterans enough. And I also think of the freedoms we have, and we just had a spirited campaign. I want to thank Representative Geoff Diehl and Representative Michelle Dubois for being here with us, but Representative Diehl and myself had a great campaign. If not for the veterans in our recent election, we wouldn't be able to have the freedoms to have an election and to have a free country. So I want to thank the veterans for all your work, for giving us the freedoms that we sometimes, the people out there, take for granted. And I want to thank everyone for showing up today. As I mentioned, the weather, it's not an easy day, but it's very important that everybody came today. And I want to thank everybody in the audience for coming today to honor our veterans. The noble and the brave, a Veterans Day tribute. When America had an urgent need, these brave ones raised a hand. No hesitation held them back. They were proud to take a stand. They left their friends and family. They gave up normal life. To serve their country and their God, they plowed into the strife. They fought for freedom and for peace on strange and foreign shores. Some lost new friends, some lost their lives in long and brutal wars. Other veterans answered a call to support the ones who fought. Their country had requirements for the essential skills they brought. We salute every one of them, the noble and the brave, the ones still with us here today and those who rest in the grave. So here's to our country's heroes. They're a cut above the rest. Let's give the honor that is due to our country's very best. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, Senator Brady. Now, State Representative Geoff Diehl.
First of all, I want to thank Mike Brady for those kind words, and it was a great race, and congratulations. He was just sworn in yesterday as our new state senator. Congratulations on that, and thank you for making today's event. And I also want to thank Paul for organizing this. I think it's an unsung hero that goes behind the scenes to do all the hard work to make not just this event work, but work with 3 towns. It's very difficult, and Paul, congratulations on doing this. So I want to thank you all for having me speak, and as the grandson of 2 World War II Army veterans, today holds a special place in my heart, as well as I'm sure everybody here in this room. Veterans Day, since its inception on November 11th of 1919 by President Wilson, has been an important date for almost 100 years to hundreds of millions of people who look to honor America's military men and women for their patriotism, love of country, and willingness to serve and sacrifice for the common good. The Massachusetts legislature has worked hard to lead in recognition by providing veteran services that are second to none to any other state, and that's because we can do no less for the citizens of the Commonwealth who have, for over 2 centuries, been the first to answer the call of duty when our country has needed them most. From the Continental Army, made up initially by the Massachusetts Minutemen who laid siege to the British in Boston under the command of General Washington in 1776, to the South Abington, now Whitman Army Infantry Regiment that was the first to report to Boston following Lincoln's call to arms in 1861, to then Lieutenant and later President Kennedy's bravery on PT 109 in World War II, to Sergeant First Class Jared Monty, the Abington-born, and as Representative D'Amelia reminds me, Rainham raised, a Medal of Honor recipient who made the ultimate sacrifice in Afghanistan. Massachusetts veterans have served nobly and continue to make us proud each and every day. The Bridgewaters are no exception when it comes to providing the leaders in the battlefield. From East Bridgewater, Army Private William Henry Osborne was awarded Medal of Honor for his heroism in the Civil War. From West Bridgewater, Army Captain Gary William Carlson graduated from the U.S. Military Academy at West Point, class of 1967, and was killed in action in Vietnam, but earned the Distinguished Service Cross in the process. And from Bridgewater, Edward L. King, who had also graduated West Point 1896, earned the Distinguished Service Cross while in the Philippines, ultimately retiring as a U.S. Army Major General. Today, though, we recognize all who have served with honor, and that includes the veteran service officers of our towns who deliver each and every day the resources needed to care for those who put their lives on the line so that we're able to celebrate Veterans Day now and for years to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Representative Diehl. And now, State Rep Michelle Dubois.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you. I have the distinct honor to be here with you today and also be the state representative for East Bridgewater and West Bridgewater, two of the three towns in this Tri-Town Parade. So I want to commend you. I'm honored to be your state representative. I grew up in a house. My father has passed on, but was a veteran. And though he was a very quiet person, my mother's not a veteran, was a very loud person. So sometimes we judge people by how loud they were, but most of the time we judge people based on their actions. And my dad was a quiet man, but a man of moral action. And so often seeing my mom was the loud one, what I learned from her actions is that every year she would volunteer at the VFW in honor of her brother who gave the ultimate sacrifice in Korea. And when I became a state representative 10 years ago, I was so happy to be able to march in the Veterans Day Parade and the Memorial Day Parade with my mom, like I had done when I was a Girl Scout. She would march in honor of her brother who passed on and gave the ultimate sacrifice to this country. And I had different reasons, but still in my heart was marching with my mom for those same reasons. And that's what brought you all here today. If it's not someone in your personal family, it's that greater community of sacrifice that's happened with our neighbors, our friends, our family, and we are all here today to honor that sacrifice. So when I ran up the street thinking my wonderful blow-dried hair was going to stay that way with my great umbrella, and I met up with the East Bridgewater Selectmen, who, no surprise, he's also a veteran, Dave Sheedy, and we were talking about how Brockton's Veterans Day Parade was canceled. He said, war doesn't get canceled based on rain. So I put my little umbrella down and off we all went. And I think that's what everyone realizes that's here today, and everyone realizes that at home. And I just want to thank you all for your sacrifice and on your service to our country. I'm honored to be a representative at the State House, and I hope that you'll judge me based on my actions. And my actions have been that if a veteran comes to me with an idea or a need, you're going to get a servant's heart from me and someone that wants to be your advocate. I was honored that the House passed Stolen Valor 3 last week, as well as making it illegal to steal grave markers off of veterans' graves for sale at junk shops. And I want to continue doing that type of work at the State House for veterans, as well as helping veterans who come back from the war field now and need help getting on their feet. In Brockton, I was an advocate, and the main reason that 21 units of permanent, affordable, safe housing for formerly homeless veterans is currently being built in the 10th Plymouth District, which encompasses West and East Bridgewater, and I plan on doing more work like that at the State House. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Representative Dubois. And now, State Rep Angelo D'Amelio.
Good morning. Thank you all for being here. I'm State Representative Angelo D'Amelio, and I serve the 8th Plymouth District, which is all of Bridgewater and all of Rainham. The theme of this day, this commemoration today, is Veterans Keeping Our Country Strong. And if it weren't for our brave men and women that serve in the military, we wouldn't have the country that we have today. We wouldn't have the opportunities. I wouldn't have the opportunity to sit on the stage and look out amongst you. So with that, I want to start by saying thank you to all the brave men and women in uniform, both past and present. Thank you for your service. I had the honor yesterday to be present at a commemoration in Rainham at the middle school. And I had a lot of fine speakers, the military service men and women that got to speak. And what hit me is, today's a very special day, Veterans Day. But listening to some of the words from my colleagues at that outing, let's not just make today the day we say thank you to our brave men and women. Let's make it every day. Let's reach out, because if it weren't for the finest among us, and that's what you are, the men and women that serve this country and our military are truly the finest among us. They are, in this day and age, in this military, an all-volunteer military. Think about that for a minute. They don't have to do and sacrifice the way they do. They sign on the dotted line so that we can all live the lives we want to lead in the greatest country in the world. So, especially to all the youth out there that are in the audience, today is a special day, Veterans Day, but please, let's make it a year-round thing where we thank our vets. So if you take only one thing home from this day today, just know that without the brave men and women that serve voluntarily, we wouldn't live the lives we lead. So with that, thank you again. God bless America, and God bless our military men and women. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Representative D'Amelio. Armistice Day was the day on which hostilities ceased and World War I ended. 27 years later, World War II ended. The U.S. Congress voted to change the name of this holiday to Veterans Day in order to honor all military who fought in return and all who died in both wars. And eventually, they voted to further amend that to cover the American veterans for all wars, past and any future wars. As a nation, we have faithfully met each year at this time to honor those from our three communities who have put their lives in the line for our democracy, our national security, and the common good. Residents of each of the three communities have observed this holiday for all of the 97 years of existence, and we have come together as a Tri-Town commemoration for 50 of those years with the hope of a final end to war, to a just and everlasting peace on earth. Our military personnel currently serving in the theater or in support in the field, on the sea, in the air. Remember, these are our brothers, our sisters, our sons, our daughters, our fathers, our mothers, aunts and uncles, and even in some cases, grandmother and grandfathers. They all volunteer to go into harm's way on our behalf. As such, they are all deserving of our complete, heartfelt, and unwavering support, our solemn prayers for their success and their safety, and our wishes that they get the job done once and for all and come back home just as soon as safely possible. So let us wish them Godspeed in completion of the task and we have set before them, and then welcome them back home to an everlasting peace in their time. Let us never forget that freedom is not free. Now, let's on to the popular piece of the Tri-Town Veterans Day gathering. Every year we give out 3 trophies to floats and to marching units judged to the most outstanding of all those participating in the parade. I was able to walk around Spring Street, and it's written here that I could see everything, but it was so rainy I couldn't see anything with my glasses on. So I'll let the judges make those decisions but I know everybody sounded good. All the scouts, it was great to see them all out there marching, and all the units marching. So why don't I call up the judge that's going to give out the trophy for best marching unit. And so the trophies, well, we have them. But we'll give them out. But we'll have to pass. I'll have to bring them around to the units later on. But we'll announce the winners. Sorry. So the best marching out. Yeah.
Good morning. I'm Pauline Grenier, and I would like to send out to all our veterans out there a very special thank you. The trophy for the best marching unit is being awarded to the Bridgewater Rainham Regional High School Band from the town of Bridgewater.
And now for the best theme and float, that'll be Nancy Morrison. Sorry.
Not a problem. Okay, the award for the best theme float goes to Cub Scout Pack 23 from West Bridgewater.
Now, Diane Warkle for the judge's choice.
Morning, Diane Kennedy Walkle. In keeping with our tradition, number one, we try to give a trophy to a marching unit or to a group from each of the 3 towns. I can't thank all of you enough for showing up today in this weather. It was not the most pleasant that we've ever had, but as our Selectman Dave stated, war doesn't stop because of rain. So thank you all for being here. So in keeping with our thoughts, the judge's choice will be to the East Bridgewater Marching Band.
Thank you, judges. I know that couldn't have been an easy task because there were a lot of units out there and they marched their butts off and stuff. So, our slogan this year says, "Veterans keep our country strong." As the recipient of their service, we are proud and very lucky that many have answered the call and many still continue to volunteer to serve our country and go into harm's way when needed and help protect our way of life. Today, we honor one such man who did so. Our Grand Marshal, Commander Charles Francis, United States Coast Guard, retired, is a comrade, a gentleman who enlisted in the United States Coast Guard after high school in 1957, eventually advanced to senior chief, later received a direct commission and served in uniform for 35 years of active and reserve service. Retiring as a commander in 1993, he and his wife Joyce have been residents of East Bridgewater for over 40 years. When he served a few years, he served a few years on our finance committee, and he is presently a member of our patriotic committee, and for the past 25 years, and 20 of them as a chairman. He has continued to serve and support veterans in the community, and I've been honored to have served with him on this committee and in the American Legion. What else can I say but thank you, Chuck, for your service. You have been an inspiration to all our lives you touch. Again, thank you very much. Don't worry. Now, well, the veterans present, raise their hands and let's thank them personally for their service to their country. Thank you, guys. And usually we're up on the Commons, and every year for the last few years, the Kiwanis Club of East Bridgewater, for a benefit of the Fisher House, have sold 1,000 flags and has placed them on the town commons in honor of all American veterans, including any POWs of all those services and the MIAs. We will now salute them all. Well, we're not going to have any volleys today because of the weather, but we're going to play taps, and just give us a second here. And taps are going to be played by Ray Ponte, and echo taps by Robert Logier. So if everybody can please stand. And now if you can remain rising, the East Bridgewater Marching Vikings, are they? Oh, they're up there? Hey, give them a second to set up. Hand salute. Thank you very much. Please remain standing for the benediction by Reverend Don Olson, pastor of Community Covenant Church.
Almighty God, we come to you with lots of different emotions, lots of different thoughts. Thanksgiving for sure, gratitude for sure. Also, we come though with sadness and grief in our hearts for loss. Some of us come, oh God, with pain that needs healing. Some of us, oh God, come with lots of questions. But in the end, oh God, we come to you knowing that you have the answers, because we give you thanks for this country. We give you thanks for this place. We give you thanks that you have entrusted this place to us. We pray, oh God, that we might treat this gift that you've given to us that we call the United States. We might treat it and use it well to honor all people, and yes, God, to bring peace to the world. We pray, oh God, specifically for veterans, and we give you thanks for them, for the sacrifices they made. But also today, God, we want to pray for healing for those veterans who still deal with the wounds of war, whether they be physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual. We also pray for their families and loved ones. But God, we pray for healing in their lives. For God, it is the best way maybe we can really tell them thanks, is to support them on their healing journey. So God, we give them to you, we give ourselves to you, and give you thanks for these few moments that we've set aside to remember and give thanks. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Olson, for your good words and thoughts. This concludes the formal portion of our program today. Before we adjourn to the basement, please be seated. I'm sorry. Before we adjourn to the basement of the Parish of St. John's Church for some soup and some various treats prepared by East Bridgewater's Girl Scout troops, we'd like to thank first the Tri-Town Veterans Council and Patriotic Planning Committees of the three towns. Without them, none of this would be possible. Thank you. I'd like to thank Chief Collins and the East Bridgewater Police Department providing planning assistance, traffic control, and a lot of other stuff that just goes unnoticed that you don't realize. This is my first year doing this, so. You don't see all the stuff behind the scenes that they do for us, and that they really work at helping us get this through. I'd like to make a thank you to Principal Paul Vieira and Superintendent Elizabeth Legault for allowing us to use this wonderful facility here, considering that we would have been out on the commons soaking wet. So this is great that they were able to pull this together in such short notice. In the IT department, the music department, Mr. Ponte and Mr. Hatchfield, and everybody that was able to help make this happen here. We really appreciate it. I'd like to thank St. John's Church, Father Paul Ring, for providing the function hall that we're going to be going back to if you have time, and Margaret Lee and all the adult scout leaders of the East Bridgewater Girl Scouts and Cadets. And thank you all for coming, and have a great day. We really hope to see you next year, Friday, November 11th, in West Bridgewater, and let the East Bridgewater Marching Vikings, I think they have another song for us to do, and here they go.